Alright guys, I am back tonight with my review for Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scargiver. The theatrical version, that is. The reason why I say that is because this film, I'm sure it's in at least some extent, because this is not Snyder's intended version of the film. This one was the epitome of sci-fi strangeness. Good and bad, to say the least. What was good was great. And I mean great. So we'll start off there. The return to Velt at the beginning of the film. Even actually before that, the introduction where we see Admiral Noble resurrected. That was really well done. Very ominous, very pounding. It was very well done. And then after the return to Velt, we get the dynamic between the rebels and the townsfolk. I love how that carries on over from the first film. I thought that was also really well done, as well as their preparation for the battle between them and the Mother World, where it was done through montages with very moving music, sound effects, cinematography, everything. That was also really well done. All very moving from the time it started until it ended. Nemesis, Titus, and the townsfolk, as well as the other rebels, they have amazing scenes for the most part. What wasn't so great, I'll get to later, but the action in the film, also spectacular, even if the slow motion shots this time do overstay their welcome a little bit. Soundtrack, cinematography, all self-explanatory from the trailers. That was spectacular. And now for the stuff I thought could have been better. It's especially part 2 that I had enough definite questionable storytelling points, along with its significantly shorter runtime compared to part 1, that leave my head scratching somewhat with the story. And I know for a fact that neither of the Rebel Moon films released so far is Snyder's definitive version for the film. That is supposed to come summer of this year, so I'm hoping that those versions are going to be able to patch those holes for me. But there's one major plot point about 30 minutes in that especially had this effect on me, as well as some others with how some of the characters do die in the film, and I'm not giving away any spoilers with this review, as well as more minor ones that are there. And like I said, I know that the definitive versions are still scheduled for release this summer, but come on Netflix, you couldn't give Snyder at least one definitive cut of his film to release right away, unlike a certain Warner Butchers. And you also couldn't give this one a wider theatrical release across, which I really wanted for both of these parts, flawed as they may be. Doesn't sound very smart to me, either customer-wise or business-wise. But to end off on a positive note, the most epic part of the film for me was the return of James in the Battle of Velt. I was even verbally saying stuff out loud and how awesome that moment was. Even though his character was noticeably chopped up in the theatrical cuts of both films, with even scenes from the trailers that didn't make it into the film, as well as some dialogue, that moment was still very epic. And all that is why I give the theatrical cut, despite its flaws, 4 out of 5 stars. Now my question for you is, what did you think of the film? Be sure to like if you like this review, leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Thanks for sticking with this review till the end. Please consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on more reviews I might be doing later this year. With that all in mind, I'll see you in the next one, so long for now.